Good morning, everyone. So this is our second hybrid event for Open RAN. The last time we met was also a hybrid event. The on-site part was hosted during that time also by Johns Hopkins University. So again, I welcome everyone. And I'm thankful to Johns Hopkins for hosting the event again, and also thankful to Dr. Ashutosh Dutta, the chairman of IEEE Open RAN. For hosting this event. I think we have a jam-packed session today, and also it's a two-day event. We'll be having the presentations today, and tomorrow we are going to be talking about the RRSA and the details of which I think Ashutosh is going to talk. So I would invite Ashutosh to come and provide us a quick update in terms of what our agenda looks like.
Thank you, Purva. Thank you, IEEE Standards Association, Future Networks, Region 1 and 2, and Innovation Testbed. I'm Ashutosh Dutta from Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab here in Laurel, Maryland. Many of you might have seen many events taking place from here. And so, as Purva said, we have a jam-packed agenda. I'll just go over the agenda slides. Our technical talks will start around 9, so we'll have some introductory talks and set the agenda. So I also serve as the industry connection Open RAN chair. So with that, we have about 20 speakers, and I just, again, this is a hybrid event. I know about 600, 700 people have registered online, so this is also being recorded in case you miss it. Some of your colleagues miss it, they can also join. So I'll go over the agenda, but we have distinguished speakers from around the world with open call invited, and they belong to operator, vendors, startup, research labs, etc. Right? So these are our distinguished speakers. They will be introduced before they speak. We have 20 speakers. I just wanted to list them here. Okay, I'll go over the agenda. So starting with Saul, Rajiv, Deepak, Dilip, Sharat, Adnan, Jillian, Scott, Venkatesh, Charles, NK, Bob Stephens, Reja, Mayuk, Srinath, Arpit, Nirit, Amar, Anwar, Onkar, among them. So this is our agenda. So right now we are in the initial stage of welcome introduction. After this logistics, I will invite Purva to give a talk about SA and the Standards Association. Then I'll also speak a little bit about Open RAN, what we are doing, what are our plans. We'll end around 9 o'clock when Chilin is going to talk for about 30 minutes from China Mobile. Then Nurit from Nokia. Rest of the talks are 20 minutes. Chilin is the steering committee chair for Open RAN Alliance, has been a IEEE fellow and volunteer. Charles Santosam from Avenir, Srinath Ramnath from Lekha Wireless, Adnan from Andritsu, he is on site. So many of the speakers, a combination of on site and remote. We'll go to the next one. Sorry. Then we have a break. After that, we have Rajiv Gopal from Hughes, Onkar, Dharmadhikari from Cable Labs, Reja from Viable Solution, and Scott from Ericsson. Some of the speakers have spoken in the past as well. Then we have the following ones: Venkatesh from MITRE, Sal from Northeastern, Bob Stephens from Keysight, Sharat from Open Network Foundation. So you can see we have a combination of open source as well. Deepak Kataria from IP Junction/Ericsson, Dilip Krishnaswamy from Quantum Works, NK Shankar Narayan from WinLab, Rutgers. Then Mayuk Rai Chaudhary from Virginia Tech, Anwar from Expo. We are building this innovation testbed at IEEE. We're going to get a chance to see how we can take advantage of and also get involved. Arpit from Linux Foundation, Amar Kapadia from Arna Networks, and then we'll end the session around 5 o'clock. So that's kind of the agenda, full agenda, as you can see, and you get a chance to see what's happening, deployment side, open source side, vendor side, and also research. This is a crucial time for Open RAN research and deployment. So IEEE, in modest ways, trying to contribute to this effort. So this is for today. Tomorrow, as you might have seen, many of you signed up. We have something called IEEE Open RAN Pre-Standards Meeting, RRSA. So Rafis, Alex Gamal, and Mehmet Ulema, part of Communication Society, few years back came up with this idea where we collect research ideas from people around the world. And we talk about that, do a little bit of brainstorming, a little bit informal. And then we pick some of those ideas and take it to something called PAR. And Purva will talk about it later. What is the process? So tomorrow's meeting is dedicated for that. We got about 10 to 12 proposals. We are also soliciting new proposals. If you haven't submitted yet and you'd like to submit, please do that. And if you go to the website, you should be able to submit your proposal. So we have a tentative agenda. I said tentative because this is kind of dynamic, is still being formed, and some of you have new ideas you think could be potentially standardized. So this is a pre-standardization effort, right? Now, there's a lot of work going on in Open RAN Alliance, ORAN Alliance, and others, but IEEE also has a role to play in terms of research and innovation. So that's why this is the effort to achieve that. So you'll get an updated agenda, but tomorrow, 9 o'clock, August 10th, Eastern time, we're going to start this. Folks on the on site, this is the Wi-Fi information. You should be able to log in, and also up in the front in the registration desk. Food and coffee available. All right. So last but not the least, I'd like to thank, obviously, IEEE Standards Association is the sponsor, but I wanted to thank all my colleagues from IEEE Standards Association, Donna, Rosalind, Heather, obviously Purva, others who have helped, not only this event, the previous event, Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, the management, and the staff, John, Garrett, Kristen Kreider, and other folks, IEEE Future Networks, Craig, Brad, they have been technical co-sponsor, Region 1 and 2. We have Don Harris here from Southern Area Chair from Region 2. Thank you, the directors of Region 1 and 2. Innovation Testbed, this is the new one being built in IEEE. So thank you for your technical co-sponsorship. So at this time, it's my distinct pleasure to, if you have questions during the technical presentation, please put that in the chat box. And we will ask the question if you have time. Otherwise, speakers are requested to answer that on the chat. Did I forget anything, Purva? Dawn is okay? All right. So with that, we have two talks, and I'd like to introduce my colleague, Standards Association colleague, Purva Rajkotia. He's the Director of Global Business Strategy Intelligence and Connectivity Telecom Practice lead at the Standards Association. Prior to IEEE, he held leadership positions in Qualcomm, Samsung, Disney, and various capacities. He also has led many standards activities, ITU 3GPP, PP2, etc. He got more than 100 patents, and including US and worldwide. He's one of the co-authors of Chapter Powerline Communication. He obtained his master's degree from Georgia Tech. With that, I'd like to invite Purva. Between Purva and I, we will finish up at 9, and then we'll invite Shilin. I request the speakers to have logged in. All right, Purva, is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. So as part of my talks, what I want to do is I want to just give a little bit of an overview as to what IEEE SA does and how IEEE SA is a partner and player in terms of newer technology development. So the tagline for IEEE SA, or the charter for the IEEE SA, is to develop technology for benefiting the humanity. Now, as part of those activities, we inspire a global community of innovators. And I think apart from the other things that are listed here, what we do is we do create global standards. And I think Wi-Fi or the IEEE 802 standards are a very good example of it. Now, in terms of the goal, what we want to do is we want to promote innovation, and we want to protect public safety, health, and well-being, and we want to contribute to a sustainable future. Now, to achieve that, what IEEE has done, they have come up with the concept of practice. And we'll talk about the practice in the subsequent slide. But I think this slide just talks about the benefit of standardization. I think we all know why standards are beneficial for the industry. I mean, it encourages competition. It brings confidence into the product. It promotes innovation. You get better performance based on the technology that are standardized. It's also helpful for the growth of the market and for a sustainable future. And this is just an example of IEEE SA by the numbers till now, what we have done. So we have more than around 34,000 global participants, more than 2,100 standards and projects, more than 400 corporate members with 7,500 plus individual members. So now this is the portfolio of programs and services within IEEE. The first one is the Industry Connections Program. Now, this IC program is basically an incubator program. What we want to do here is, if the industry has any new ideas, any new concept that they want to try out, or if they want to build a standards on, that they want to do the field trials, proof of concepts, IEEE actually will support those activities through the Industry Connections Program. And Open RAN is actually one of those programs that is a part of the Industry Connections. So basically, IEEE SA is going to do everything to make sure to incubate the whole project, to reach it to a stage, to help it mature it to a stage where it could be standardized. The other thing is the standardization. I think as I gave a good example of IEEE 802. 802 is a very good example of standards that came out of IEEE SA. Membership is the other services that the IEEE offers. Conformity assessment, again, I think this goes a little bit in line with what Ashutosh mentioned about the 5G and the 6G test bed. Basically, we want to have the products in the market which are tested, verified, and confirmed by IEEE. Registries, again, these are the MAC addresses that are assigned to the devices to make sure that there is no overlap of addresses. Then there is alliance and management. And open source. Again, open source is again a project that are closely aligned with our Open RAN activities. Again, here we want to provide a community to support any of the open source projects, be it hardware, software, or hybrid. Now, industry connections. As I mentioned, that this is basically an incubator program. The thing that happens here, they are pre-standardization. So here you have a little bit of more flexibility. You do not have the rigid structure that you normally have when you go for any standards meetings. As many of the people here might have attended standards meetings, you have a guides, a set of rules or things that you need to follow. But here it's a little bit lax from that perspective, in the sense that since this is more of a brainstorming, it's more of an incubation program. You can the people can just bring in idea. You do not need to have a solid proposal. You can work with IEEE to transform your idea into a solid project through a part of Industry Connections Program. Now, right now it's a growing program. We have around 60 plus programs that are part of IC program. And again, it is very efficient and then done in a very economical environment. When I say that, is that the people who actually brings in the idea, they do not bear a lot of expenses. IEEE SA actually helps the industry, like in terms of the financial resources, man resources, global resources, human resources, in terms of fostering this particular program. Now, the strategic focus here is that we want to create a portfolio with an emphasis on vertical industry practices to support new opportunities. So that's the plan of the IEEE SA. We also want to grow and sustain our platforms, and also we want to continue to effectively contribute to the global digital economy through collaboration and consensus building through standards development. So these are just some of the ideas that the IEEE SA is currently focused on. Now, I mentioned a few minutes back about practices. So what are practices? Practices are basically the centers of competence. So we have around 7 different practices within SA: health and life science, mobility, energy, sustainability, telecommunications and connectivity, foundational technologies, and new frontiers and emerging services spaces. Now, Open RAN activities, they are part of the telecommunications and connectivity practice. That's the practice I led. But there are different areas in which, if there are ideas or if there are things that you want to incubate, these are the different practice areas you can actually work with within IEEE SA. Now, when it comes to connectivity and telecom practice, there are 3 different work streams that we should be aware of. Like, there is a rural communications work stream, consumer communications, and industrial communications. And the goal or the vision for this practice is basically we want to create a robust, responsible, and affordable connectivity solution that is going to address the needs of different regions and different domains of the world. Because I think one of the things that has been very clear from the research that we have done is that there is, when it comes to connectivity, there is no one solution that is going to meet everyone's needs. This is not just because of the difference in the technological innovation. It's more of the factors like the geography, the topography, the economical needs, the consumer behavior. All those things, they are going to have very different, they vary from region to region. So expecting that one solution is going to meet everyone's needs it's not feasible. So what we want to do as part of our practice is that we want to meet different needs of different regions by providing them with a tool set. Now, to achieve this particular goal, we have many different initiatives. I think we have started the work on 6G activities, 5G framework. Open RAN is one of them. Cybersecurity is the other one. Telehealth, sustainability, and the rural communication work. I'm not going to go through the entire slide, but this is just a little bit of details about the 3 different work streams. And this particular slide just goes into the details about what each of this program is doing when it comes to the initiatives that we mentioned about 6G, Open RAN, telehealth, sustainability. So yeah, if there are any, you can go to this slide, and if there are any questions, please let me know. I'll be here today as well as here tomorrow, so we can have more discussions on these topics. So Ashutosh, with that, I'll invite you back. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, so I got about 10 minutes. I'm going to run through the industry Open RAN industry connection. You're going to hear about this from a lot of folks today. So this is me. I work for Johns Hopkins University, Applied Physics Lab. I already introduced myself. So I'm an IEEE volunteer for a long time. All right. So again, this is me again. All right. So Open RAN industry connection, we have a committee. We started about 2 years back. So I serve as the chair. And Ivan Saskar from Rajkotia University, vice chair, Chatai, Dots Telecom, and Mithun Mukherjee from Nanjing University. And we have Director Strategic Alliance, Purva, and Industry Connection Administrator, Rosalinda. And there are other folks in Standards Association also helped us get started. We meet monthly, at least that's the plan. We got about 250 to 300 members in the Open RAN mailing list. So we like to keep it vibrant and see what we can add from the IEEE side to the ecosystem. Purva already talked about it. So our focus for this summit is industry connection, what is going on in the landscape, the Open RAN side, do the actual gap analysis, see what else we can do, any new standards, optimization, algorithm research, development, testbed, etc. What we can do on that. So with that said, there are a lot of activities going on, and you're going to listen to many of the leaders, starting with Chilean, Open and Alliance, 3GPP, Fusion Networks Technical Community, where I also serve as the chair, Standards Association, ATIS Next Alliance, Telecom Infra Project by Facebook, Open RAN Policy Consortium, Linux Foundation, Open RAN Gym, just to name a few, right? So in a modest way, IEEE Standards Association is going to contribute to that. And this summit kind of fosters provides a platform for all of us to discuss what's going on around the world. I know many people, many companies, many vendors around the world, they're putting a lot of effort in this area, come up with new ways to make the RAN optimized, introduce AI/ML, for example, or any kind of closed loop automation orchestration. How can we take advantage of the open source that's out there? So with that, some of you who may not be very familiar with the whole 5G ecosystem, obviously there is an end user, there's a radio access network, there's a edge cloud, there's a 5G core, and I'm giving an example of 5G here. It could be applicable to our future 6G type networks, and you're going to listen to Chilean about that. So whole idea of contributing to the RAN as RAN radio access network becomes open and disaggregated, right? There are lots of interesting challenges, interesting opportunities, right? In terms of making it optimized. At the same time, are there additional risks? So we're going to hear from Scott about that. If somebody wants to build a test bed using open source software, we're going to listen to many folks around that. What kind of debugging tools are there if you're going to deploy Open RAN, right? So all those things you're going to listen to today. So in a way, our focus is on the radio access network side, which is the Open RAN, right? Again, just to give you an idea, on the left-hand side, it kind of shows up what ORAN Alliance has come up with in 3GPP. There are many working groups, as you can see, are contributing to this effort. And some of them will be discussed today. So in a way, as I was telling, there are many challenges and opportunities that we need to look into, right? When things get standardized or new specification get done and things started getting deployed, there are many deployment challenges, starting with, let's say, heterogeneous access with Wi-Fi 7, 5G interoperability. In terms of optimization, the latency issues, the security issues, in terms of when there are interoperability issues even among different vendors. So these are the things have to be fixed before we can do a wider deployment. My previous life, I used to work for AT&T Labs, so I got a little bit exposure to how things get done. So from the lab and experiment, I also with Bell Communication Research, I have seen how you come up with a proof of concept and then take it to standards and start deploying things. Things don't work properly, go back to standards and fix it, right? And do new research. And that's how the whole iteration happens. And I'm expecting today and tomorrow will give an opportunity for all of us to try to solve those kind of issues, right? In an iterative manner. So we have industry connection, several things, as Purva said, we have planned. So overall idea is to contribute to Open RAN related efforts, harmonize with other SDOs without duplicating their effort, collaborate with other ICATs. There are many other industry connection ICATs. We don't have to work in silo. Proof of concept. There are a lot of OTIC testbed. IEEE also building its own 5G 6G innovation testbed where people have an opportunity to try out. It's open to academic startups and vendors. Can you please mute if you're not speaking? Just mute yourself kindly. Open testbed for compliance, initiate white paper, position papers. There's IEEE's DNA. With collaboration with Future Network Initiative, other communication societies or other societies, we can have journals and conferences, peer-reviewed white papers, etc. And things like conference, webinar, workshops, Future Network World Forum is happening in Baltimore in November. If you want to have a panel or any kind of workshop or paper, please feel free to submit there. That's November 13, 14, and 15. There are other things we have planned in terms of guidelines for different implementation, interoperability, different verticals. So IEEE Future Networks as an application working group, we work on various verticals. What are the architectures? So what kind of architecture can be suitable for agriculture or first responder or e-health, right? Because they have different key performance indicators that have to be met, right? In terms of latency, et cetera. So those are there is a relation between application KPI and the underlying architecture. So that's important. There are things like configuration fault management, solution interface vendor framework, new research ideas to additional use cases. And last but not the least, this whole project authorization request, which tomorrow's we have dedicated to that, to think about new ideas that can be, we can take it forward to develop new potential standards, right? So tomorrow's meeting is more like pre-standardization brainstorming. And so please try to join tomorrow. If you still have new proposals, please submit that also in the website. These are our contact points. You can send mail to our chair. We have our vice chair, Chata and Yvonne, secretary Mithun, they are also on the call. So with that, I think we are right on time. I will end my talk at this time. Oh yeah, so there are potential next steps like gap analysis, use case document, how can you take advantage of IEEE innovation testbed is being built right now. Tech Mahindra is helping us integrate that. Open run solution for digital divide, connecting the unconnected. Heterogeneous RIC, I think there is a proposal tomorrow from Dilip on that. Collaboration with Open RAN research group, ORAN Alliances, more on that. Chilin can say more about that. And please do join us, our monthly meeting, and we can discuss more ideas.